Mm. Hey, everybody. Welcome to My Matter. I am your host, Sharika. And I just want you to go ahead while you're on here, press the share. Well, you can't share. So go ahead and tag a name that's usually in here that you do not see. Tag them in the bottom in the comment section and let them know that we are on. And tonight we're going to talk about seasonal depression. You know what we do. We keep it clean here, but we talk about everything and we keep it respectful. Um, so I'm gonna give you a minute to go ahead and type that name in the bottom comment section so we can get some people on here and we're gonna get to talking about seasonal depression. And we do have a guest that's on here. She's not really a guest, she's been here before. Angeli, she is back with us, and I'm excited to talk about seasonal depression with her tonight. So go ahead and tag the names in the back. Hi, Monty. Let me see if I can get back to my comment section and see who is on here. Hey, Ed. Oh, I think somebody. Hey, Tawanda. See, I'm so used to having my music in the background, but Facebook ding you for everything because of copyright issues. Now it's so quiet.
Oh, wow.
They do. You have to do a lot of research just to get music that's not copywritten.
Oh, my, oh, my. They say that.
Do a lot of research just to get music that's not copyrighted.
All right, folks. Y'all gonna have to bear with me today. I have two little puppies, and I got one in the cage and one not. And the one that's in the cage is about to destroy this cage. So I'm gonna let them out. I do apologize now if they get loud. I will try my best to separate them.
We'll work around that.
He's literally about to destroy this cage that he's in to get out, to get to his brother who's out. I'm going to brave it and let him out. And hopefully they keep the peace down. If not, you'll see one of them on screen with us. I do apologize, but this is the only way we're going to get through this for the next hour.
Yep. All right. I see y'all tagging. Hi, Mia. How you doing, baby? Hey, Monty. Hey, JR. I see y'all tagging in the comment section. Hey, Brian. We're going to talk about seasonal depression. It's holiday time, and we have so many people that are going through seasonal depression. So we do want to come to inform you guys on some coping mechanisms or whatever other tools that Miss Angelise may have. Hi, Alan. I see you in the comment section. I am doing good, Mia. Thank you for asking. Yep. All right, y'all. Thank you for coming on to My Matter. Again, I am your host. I am Sharika Mitchell. And tonight we're going to talk about seasonal depression. And we have someone who is near and dear to the Mitchell's heart, and it is Angelise. We love her. She is like family to us. um, so we're going to talk about seasonal depression. Oftentimes during this time of year is a rough time of year for so many different um people. I'm sorry, my husband's in the background correcting me. It's Angelique, and I said Angelise. So this time of year is seasonal depression because it's hard for some people during the holidays, especially when they've lost someone, and uh, or seasonal depression because the weather has changed or the seasons have changed. And I just thought it great to bring her back so she can expound on what it is and any other questions that we may have. And by any means, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section. I will be keeping an eye on the comment section here on Facebook as well as YouTube, so that we can get those answered to the best of our ability. So we're going to go ahead and start. Angelique, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. We may have some new people since the last time you have came on to the show.
Hello, everybody. My name is Angelique Lawrence. I am a licensed clinical marriage and family therapist here in the Virginia area. Woo-hoo. Expanding. And so I am so happy and always blessed when I get to be on Mind Matters and talk it up with the people. So hopefully you guys will put some questions in there that you have. I love to answer questions. It makes it seem more interacting instead of. And for those of you who just joined, that my early apology, I'm going to apologize again. I got 2 new puppies, and they like the fact that as soon as mommy's online, they like to tear it up. So I tried separating them, and they tore up even more louder. So they're out. If you hear me snap, they know when I snap to get it together. So I do apologize. They are in separate ends of the house right now. So hopefully that lasts once we get through this. I do apologize in advance. So.
All right, and we are glad to have. We always love having Angelique on Mind Matter. The vibe is just the connection. I love it. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into the conversation tonight. My first question, of course, is, what is seasonal depression?
All right. So seasonal depression is it stands for, so it's called SAD, is its antonym. So seasonal affective disorder. And what it is a type of depression that usually happens in the beginning or the end of when seasons change. So you can have the fall months that continue into winter. There's even some spring and summer ones that also can happen. And so basically what it is that every time the seasons change, we have light, right? We turn back the clock, we forward the clock, all that wonderfulness does affect some people. It affects them in the sense of having to get up earlier or go to bed late. It sends the whole equilibrium off for people, and they have a hard time adjusting, because the more we spend time in the dark, the more depressed they feel, and they feel like they can't get a lot of things done, right? We all love the summertime, like that extra hour, more sunlight, more daylight. We're like, oh, wow, we could go for bike rides later. We could do this, we can do that. Sun doesn't set till like 9 o'clock, sometimes a little later. So we've just got 2 more hours, 3 more hours of sunlight. And so it really does affect people when we're in the fall and winter and we lose that time, right? And then it shows up on the other end early in the morning where people's just like, I don't want to get up early then either. So it does affect people where they start to feel a bit depressed. And so how do you handle it, right? That's always the question. But remind me, we'll get back to that. I don't want to jump ahead. So what does it look like, right? Let's start there. What does it look like? So it mimics a lot of what depression looks like. So sometimes if people feel sad or down, most of the time it's mostly every day or just about every day. Like they just feel like this overwhelming sadness or down, and they can't explain it, right? They feel like losing interest to do activities that they once liked to do, just having low energy, feeling really sluggish. Problems, sometimes they sleep too much, because remember, it's dark now, right? So because it's dark, what do you want to do? Sleep. So they always are sleeping too much. They start to crave sweets. So whether it's carbohydrates, overeating, a lot of weight gain, right? Because that goes back into the sluggishness, not wanting to do anything, don't have the feeling or the motivation to do any activities. Something as simple as going for a walk, right? Every day after dinner, we went for a walk. Now every day after dinner, it's pitch black outside, right? So, and it's cold. Oh my goodness, how could I forget the coldness, right? This last couple of days, winter said, woo, hi, I'm here, right? So who wants to go for a walk, right? It's 40 degrees outside. Once again, what's the easiest thing to do? Stay in our nice warm house, click on the TV. That whole feeling of hopelessness and not want to do anything and just like, oh, I'll just do it later. Some people even have more thoughts of feeling guilty or worthless, or even thoughts of not wanting to live. It can really show up and just start messing with people because we spend that additional 3 hours or more in darkness at nighttime. So it's a bit hard for people to want to switch over, or even having their mind switch over. Some people just like never have seasonal depression. Like they don't understand. It's just like, okay, it's dark, but as long as I keep looking at the clock, I know what time it is, right? Or sometimes some people's jobs, that mid shift or evening shift, they're just like, whatever, doesn't make a difference to me. Excuse me. But most people who are morning people have a harder time with it, because at 5 o'clock, their day would have shut down, but they have these extra hours and extra time that now they don't have anymore. So like I said, it can show up in the fall and the winter, as well as the spring and the summer, right? Most people's like, what do you mean spring to summer? Like we just got all this extra time. Like how did I have depression then? Well, insomnia kicks in, right? So I went from sleeping too much to now I can't sleep, right? So my bedtime every day is at 7 o'clock. Well, in the summer, it's still light outside. It's still full bright. The sun is still like, hey, what are you doing sleeping? Like, get out the bed. Like, let's go. Right? Which causes people sometimes to not want to eat or have an appetite because we're trying to stick to the schedule, right? It's kind of backwards. In the wintertime, we pack on pounds, and then in summertime, we shed them, right? And so the same thing that happens actually should be the opposite, right? Should be like we should starve ourselves in the winter so we can look good for the summer, and eat in the summer so we can stay fit also during the winter. Nutrition will probably tell me, no, that's wrong. Stop telling people that, right? But logically, but we don't do that. So we kind of like every animal, right? We pack on the weight in the winter. We don't want to eat in the summertime. So either which way, our balance and our weight is doing this up and down and back and forth. And it's all because of how we feel, right? Anybody have, when they're happy, they realize they eat more, right? Or even if they're sad, they eat more, right? But usually if we're happy, if we're eating something, we also feel a bit more motivated to go out and do something about it. And I apologize. They're about to go at it. The puppies are about to go at it. I apologize. So we have that effect, right? So perfect example, right? You're frustrated, you're more agitated, you're more irritable, right? I can make an argument for them right about now having seasonal depression. We're more agitated. We can't go anywhere. We can't do what we're supposed to do. We can't get outside. So we have all of that built up. That affects our weight and affects how we do things. So before I go on, because I always feel like I rush through this because I'm a fast talker. I'm from New York. Is there any questions? Anything in the chat box? I can't tell. I eat all the time.
Yeah, that's the only one I see is eating.
Don't we all? But sometimes actually, if you take notice when the seasons change, especially about now, what we eat, right? Because even society kind of caters to it, right? Because now we're hitting fall. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a pumpkin spice queen. Like I love me some pumpkin spice. I do. I must say, I was a snob to Starbucks, and I had a cup of their pumpkin spice Starbucks coffee. And I'm like, oh, they did it right. Like, but my point is, right, I'm even a snob when it comes to the muffins, right? Every place I try, I'm like, not everybody gets this pumpkin spice muffin together. They all don't taste right, but our taste buds change, right? Mm-hmm. There's an autumn soup that I love from Panera that only comes out, like, I am a eating person when it comes to the fall, right? But the squashes, the pumpkins, the what was I going to say, between the pumpkin spice, right? But we notice that we take on more soups, right? Even our soups are more heartier, more meatier, more this, right? But we also take on these bigger meals, right? Because we have Thanksgiving, we have family time. So we take on these bigger meals, right? And then we're cold, right? So we have this notion like, I need to eat so I can stay warm and pack on the weight so that way, I'm good. I can be out there. I'm gonna sweat it off anyway with all these layers of clothes. But
Mm-hmm.
if you really think about how we eat in terms of seasons, it does affect us, and it also leads into that depression state, right? Because we have that mindset. I'm in the house. I don't want to go out. I'm cold, so I might eat a little more. And we kind of trick ourselves and like, oh, summer's coming. I'll just work it off, right? Never happens. But we do. So even though we eat all the time, start paying attention to what you crave more of. What is it that you do? And so sad is also a part of depression, right? It is, and it will show up as depression. The reason why it's more seasonal is because for some people, as soon as it levels off and we're in the middle of the time frame, some people are able to adjust and bounce back, and it goes away. Other people, they have that hard time adjusting. So they constantly stay in that state of sadness. And for some people in the summer times, it goes away, right? More light, it disappears compared to being dark. So that's why we call it seasonal, because it usually will come on. For some people it'll stay the whole season. Some people is short-lived. Everybody's different in terms of how it comes on and how to handle it, right? But you treat depression how you would always treat depression. Right? But we're going to get to that because you're going to remind me, how do we treat depression? Right? Never happens. I'm not quite sure what do you mean by never happens. Something that I said by going to the gym. Are you agreeing with me? The summertime comes and we never go work it off?
That's probably what Alan meant. Because that's him.
Right? Never happen. We always tell ourselves that, right? Yes. Okay. We always tell ourselves that. I'm right there with you. Right there with you. I am definitely right there with you. So people who also have bipolar disorder or other seasonal affective disorder, sometimes this is a bit harder for them also, right? Because we're talking about that will contribute to their manic or their hyper behavior. I'm not going to go deep into that because we're not talking about bipolar, and that's a whole nother thing itself. Right. But I did just want to put that little caveat there. If somebody is suffering with bipolar or knows somebody who is, that even for them, you might see it a bit more so in them having a hard time adjusting, right? I kind of went over this, but I'm going to highlight this again. I'm looking at my little cheat notes. So the cause, right? We have the cause because our biological clock goes back, our rhythm. I don't know if you guys realize this, but sometimes we have an internal clock. And you can really set your internal clock for what time you need to wake up without setting your alarm.
Yeah.
Lady, that ain't true. We live by these phones, right? If it wasn't because of this device, what would we do? But technically you can. We all have an internal clock that you can literally set your clock internally every day that this is the time you want to wake up. You can even set it for short little naps. We actually do this. And if you're more in tune with it, you can kind of set it a little bit better. People with seasonal depression has a hard time. That clock just goes completely off. It just can't set and readjust to it. So that's also what makes them a little harder, because it's like that rhythm clock that we have in our own cells just stops working. It goes, nope, nope, not happening. The other thing is, like, we get a lot of vitamin D in, right? And so that also helps with our body is to knowing what's going on. We just lost 3 hours of sunlight, right? So that plays a part of it as well, So the reducing sunlight affects our serotonin levels, which is our brain chemistry that affects our mood, that affects how we are, and things like that. So if I don't have it, I don't feel happy. I'm not feeling sad. I'm feeling sad. And so therefore, I don't want to do anything, which can trigger our depression. our melatonin levels, which is kind of like the same thing for our sunlight, right? Which is our melatonin levels is like our sleep pattern, which kind of goes back to that biological clock, right? So if it's all imbalanced and it's all off, when am I sleeping? When am I awake? Our internal clock just can't get it right. So for some people, it'll just shut down. And then, like I said, if we're so used to, especially our early birds, right, that wake up at the crack of dawn, I always laugh at them. I said, "You guys wake up to tell the roosters and the sun to shine? Like, hello, they know what time they're supposed to be up." But for them, they have the hardest time because if they rise at 5 and the sun hasn't gotten the message yet, they're like, "Well, wait, why am I up?" But they're up because they have to start their day, but their body's like, no, it's still dark. It's supposed to be sleeping, right? Comparing to summertime, you up at 5, the sun is cracking the sky. It's like, all right, everything is right in the world. Like, yeah, we got this. So it sets a little bit of everything off. All right. Any questions?
Not from them, but I can move to my next one if you're ready.
Okay. What's your next question?
And you may have already answered it throughout the conversation, which is, what are some signs, or how do you know when someone or ourselves is dealing with seasonal depression? You may have already
went over. I don't mind pointing those out again, right? So usually the fact is, we just feeling a bit more sad, right? And here's the thing, right? With the depression, I don't want to sound sexist, but how can I word this? Sometimes, well, in both sex, but we feel more sadder times than others, right? For females, it's different reasons for men, right? Point can be argued.
I did research it, so it's in research.
Right? But at the same time, it's like what it is simply a matter of today I feel good. I'm up all week. I can do everything. The next day I feel kind of sad, right? But in this case, it's more about, is it continuously? Is it every day? I'm just sluggish. I can't get up, right? And this is different from a life event happening, right? But this is more so like, I can't explain it. I just don't want to get up. I can't do anything. What's going on? I'm just not motivated. Things that I just did perfectly fine. Now, I don't have any interest to. Nope, I don't want to, right? And so usually depression, when we're asking people what's behind the depression, usually they can pinpoint it more to an event that happened in life or something that's going on. For seasonal depression, it's the same thing. And you will hear people say the seasons change, like it's darker more often now. And most of the time we hear it, we kind of shrug it off, or people's just like, oh man, I just can't get used to this time change. That's real for people. People can't get used to a time change difference, and helping them figure it out. So there's a question here. Is it more adults than youth or children? So no, it's not more so one or the other. Sometimes our kids will have a hard time adjusting to the light in the schedule, right? We make them push through it a little bit more. I think depends on the school system you at, has some of them have catered to it. So the times that they have to get up, it's already later. So the sun is already in the sky by the time they come home. So with kids, is a little bit more different factors that has to go into play in terms of looking at your kid's schedule. If they're already up when the sun's up and that hasn't changed, that wouldn't be a seasonal depression. Going to bed, if their bedtime is still the same, and most of you guys' bedtimes for these kids is 9:30, 9 o'clock, where whether summer or winter is still dark out. So it wouldn't be seasonal depression. That if their kid is whining about other things or complaining about other things, it might be a little bit something more. It could be depression, but it won't be seasonal depression. Right? The seasonal depression is saying based upon the weather, the time change is now why I'm depressed. If you have kids where in the morning they were up before the sun was up and now it's dark, they might, right? They might have a little bit of it's like, oh, but it's dark out. Why do I have to get up? Right? Or a little bit more sluggish and not wanting to get up, or a little bit more motivated. With kids, I would say everybody always asks for kids and separate kids and adults. Kids are a little bit more complicated. I should say a little bit more. They're a lot more complicated than adults are because there's so many other factors that go into our kids. It's a matter of what they have that day, what their schedule looks like, is there after school curricular activities, what age are there? There's so many. Yes, it sounds like Monday mornings. Exactly. But that's exactly, that is so perfect. But this is a Monday morning that lasts throughout the whole week.
Season, yeah.
And the weekends. It will even show up on the weekends. So it definitely is. That is a perfect way of putting that and putting into light. Like it's that Monday morning blues that you're just like, oh my goodness. But it lasts even when you come home in the evening. It lasts throughout the week. And you're just like, oh my goodness, like when is this morning blues ever going to end? And it just doesn't. But like I said, for some people, it does taper off. So by the time winter comes, more so, some people's bodies have gotten adjusted to it and they bounce back from it a little bit better. Some people can't handle it. And so they stay in it a whole lot longer. Right? So one thing that they will do is sunlight. And so this sounds like kind of crazy, right? It's like, what? But they have like these lamps that they literally sit in front of a lamp that kind of beams light into their brain, into their eyes, into their brain, that tells them like, okay, there's more light. So it sends all those positive, it gets the melatonin working, it gets the serotonin working, it gets all that working for them to feel better and to feel happier. Like, oh, I got this, right? And plus that extra vitamin D, right? So the brain's like, oh, look, we got light. Like, yes, we can do this. And it helps them get through their day. And they do this every day. Every day they're in front of it for about 10, 20 minutes just to give that brain that extra sunlight that it's asking for, and for all those balances to kind of balance back out, because it's like, okay, good, I like this, right? Which is go ahead.
So would you say that during that time, vitamin D and vitamin B12 will be some great, I guess, supplements to use during those seasons?
So I'm gonna let you in a little hint, a little. Vitamin D we take for granted, and we don't take enough of it.
Right.
And we always need vitamin D. I grew up in Washington. I'm gonna read a comment over here. I grew up in Washington State, and when the time changed, it rained and the winters were harsh, and I didn't realize that until I moved to California. Yeah, exactly. Most states, that was something else. Like most states. Wait, before I go back to this. Okay, I'll go back to that second question. So most of the time where people are in states that are have that seasonal, like just like Washington State, where most of the time it's cloudy, it's rainy, and they stay in that gloom state, a lot of people will be that. And they will see it. And sometimes people don't even realize it, because especially if you grew up in a state and you live there, you've just adapted, right? But when you move to a different state that's sunny, you're just like, oh, wow, wait a minute. Like, why am I not sad? Why I have this extra energy? I feel good, right? It's one of those things. It's just like if you ever, excuse me. So if you were in Washington State, right, or up north, I went to school in upstate New York, right? So if you go on vacation, you ever realize why you have this extra energy on vacation, especially if you go someplace sunny in the Caribbean? You ever realize you wake up like, yes. Well, part of that is not just the fact that you're on vacation.
It's the vitamin D, huh?
But part of that is that vitamin D and that extra sunlight that you're getting. That's just like that positive energy, right? It's just like, yes, I can do this. Because even no matter how tired you are on vacation from doing everything, it's like, let's go sit by the pool, right? It's just like, we still got 5 more hours or 2 more hours of sunlight, and you're going to finish soaking it up, right? It's that same thing, that same feeling. So people who are in places where it's more sunny and the weather's doing good, it's definitely more so that you notice it. Vitamin D is something that we should always be taking. Is it safe to say that all African Americans should take some type of vitamin D supplement? Everybody needs to take vitamin D. So let me go back to this, right? So in one of my many hats that I wear, I learned that vitamin D is something that no matter what color you are, as you
Mhm.
age, we lose. And every single doctor that I went to, that I should say, every patient that I went to, their doctor all had prescribed him vitamin vitamin
Mhm.
D3 at that. And
Mhm.
I was like, we were missing it. And I had my patients were of every ethnicity, everything. Every single one of them had vitamin D3. When my mother got to her golden age and she went to the doctor gave her the same thing, vitamin D3. And I'm just like, look at this. And I was in with my mother and I asked her, I was like, what's up with this vitamin D? It was like,
Right.
what's up with this? And she was like, we lose vitamin D as we age.
Mm.
And we don't realize it, but it's so important for bones and health
Yeah.
overall. Miss it. And especially with us with melon, right? We're just like, well, we just naturally blessed already, right? But our body needs it. So the
Mhm.
earlier you can to start putting some vitamin D in your diet, most definitely. Because like I said, I don't care what ethnicity it was, every doctor has prescribed vitamin D3 and depends on where they were at, the different levels that they prescribe. Now, I am not a medical doctor. So before you run out and get some vitamin D, because you're gonna be like Miss Angelique Lawrence said to make some, I want you to check with your doctor to find out what level you should be taking, how much
Right.
ICUs or CIs, whatever is the label says for you to be taken. Please speak with your medical doctor, but do ask them about just vitamin D. I'm
Yeah.
sure if you're in my age group, and don't let this wonderful wig and these great features fool you. How old I am. But it should be part of our diet.
Yeah.
So please ask your health physician, your main PCP, like, hey, should I be having some? If I do, what should I start off with? Another thing that we do, we forget, like we take for granted when we ask doctors or doctors run our health panel, we take for granted that we assume they're running everything and they're not running everything. So don't be afraid to talk to your doctor to be like, listen, I'm here for a checkup and I only see you twice a month, right? I pay
Mhm.
every month, but I can't see you every month, but I pay you very well every month. Can you run a full panel? Know what you are, know where your blood work is, know
Yeah.
where your NS, know where your levels are. This is a side note, but this is why we're dying because we're not asking the right questions and we're assuming that they're running the right numbers or the right panels for everything. You will be surprised at what they don't run. There's just
Right.
a standard of 5 out of 25 that they'll run because unless we communicate and say and share, they don't. The other thing is that, listen, my family comes from a good family of shh, shh, shh. You guys know what that is, right? Don't tell,
Mhm.
don't ask anything. Sometimes we got to take those parents or those grandparents one-on-one without an audience and be like, hey, is there any health things in our family that I should know about? Hopefully they'll share, and be vulnerable with them. Like, listen, I'm asking because I'm getting up in age. My kids are coming along. They have all this stuff out here. Is there something I should be aware of? My
Right.
grandmother died of pancreatic cancer, kept it a secret. Her grandmother died of, guess what? Pancreatic cancer.
Pancreatic
When
cancer.
we asked, hey, what great grandmother died of? Cancer. Do you not realize like how many cancers is out there?
Right.
Secret, right? My grandmother, even her, it was cancer, and we was just like, Grandma, something ain't right. She kept it under wraps, right? We have to respect it and have that one-on-one. Like, listen, I get it's your health. I get that you
Mhm.
don't want us to dole over you or make you live longer past what you want to, but it'd be kind of nice to know because for your grandkids, for your great grandkids, for me, what are some of these secrets that we don't talk about?
Mhm.
We always, there's a rumor that Uncle Bub was crazy. Well, what was crazy?
Right.
Wasn't wrapped together, right? We have to kind of do this. You'll be surprised. Even depression shows up genetically.
Genetically. Mhm.
It really does. Back then, people didn't know what to call it. They called it all kinds of things, right? But sometimes when we hear those words, we got to be like, well, what does that mean? Or what did that look like? Right. So sometimes they might not know what it means. Like, what does it look like? Like, can you describe what it was or describe what they used to say about it? Right. We have Google now at our fingertips. All of y'all have Googled everything all the time, all the time. So even if you have one or two wordings of it, maybe it might help, right? So when you're sitting there and the doctor, we feel like, especially as we feel like the doctor's being nosy, like, why do you need to know about my grandparents? Why do you need to know about my great parents? Like, you here to treat this little thing on my finger. Like, what? Why are you all up in my business?
There is a reason.
Right? There's a reason, because that might save your life.
Yeah.
Right? My mom lived to be 77. Healthy as an ox. I mean, every time she went to the doctor was just like, you're healthy, like you're great. She hit 75 and cancer showed up like it was nothing. She just left the doctor and was perfectly healthy, right? I say this because we have to be able to ask. We have to be able to know. Give me 1 second.
Y'all, she got dogs.
I'm sorry.
You good.
We have to be able to ask, right? So even something as simple as, what does that mean, right? Depression shows up across the board. Even anxiety shows up, right? And even bipolar, right? If we know that bipolar is something that is depressional and it can affect, these are questions that we still have to ask. And I get it. My family, secret among secrets, right? I also learned to be like, I would catch them one-on-one, wherever they were in their comfort zone, and just ease my way into some of those little questions. And I didn't throw the whole book at them, right? Maybe one or two, 3 or 4, next visit, maybe another more, right? You'd be surprised that some of them want to share. They're just waiting for you to ask.
Right.
Some of them, they look at you. I got cursed out by my grandparents so many times, but they still told me. I mean, mid-conversation, my grandmother realized that she was telling me all her deep secrets and was like, wait, why do you want to know all this? But then continue to tell me all of her secrets, right?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. They realize it. And if you're still blessed to have them around, ask the questions, ask the aunts, ask the uncles, ask the cousins. Family knows, but sometimes we don't ask the question to be able to know the answer.
Yeah. So with I'm sorry, you're getting ready to go down further.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go back up. So too, my dad was in a hospital. It was a heavy diet. Yes. Yeah. Vitamin D. We take it for granted. We truly do. We truly do.
I think you're probably looking for the question, what can you do mentally to, what is this?
I think it's focus.
Okay. Oh, to force you to overcome that sad feeling you have early in the morning when you want to get up to be productive.
So we're kind of rolling into some cures, right? Some things or ways of batting this. So that's exactly. So one thing you could do is the night before prepare. So preparing the night before is a matter of, what are those things that I struggle with as soon as I wake up, right? So is it a matter of, what am I going to wear, right? Something as simple as, what am I going to wear? If I'm literally standing in my closet for 30 minutes, have gone by and I'm still standing there scratching my head, like, what am I going to wear? Something might to do is do it in the night before, right? It seems like you guys are probably like, what? Like, what the hell is she talking about? But you'd be surprised that decision-making can become overwhelming. So even just standing there, as simple as, do I wear this dress with boots? Do I put these pants on or what? If you're standing in the morning and you realize, like, I'm really literally just standing here aimlessly of what I'm going to wear, try picking out at least 2 outfits. I would say 3, but don't go crazy. At least 2 outfits the night before. Because then when you wake up, your options are already limited right there. Dress or pants, right? For guys, blue or black, right? Like, what's the 2 that you're just going to pick, right? Something else to do is music. Music is a huge thing and affects our mood. If you have a good playlist or something that you like to listen to, that no matter where you are, if you're happy, it makes you happier. If you're sad, it makes you happy. Put a playlist together. That soon as you get up in the morning, that's the first thing that you hit. You hit that playlist. Something else to do that you can do in the morning and the evening also is smell. So our senses is one of those amazing things as well, right? Because that scent is hitting our melatonin, hitting our cerebellum, making us feel good. So a scent, if it means that the night before, if you're smelling it, then fine. In the morning, you might have to do the same thing. Now, these come in different ways, right? You can have little aroma ball things. You can have a candle that you don't light, that you're smelling it the night before. You're smelling it when you wake up. So mint is my thing. People like lavender, lavender. Me and lavender and my allergies don't get along, right? So for me, it's actually mint. Look into other scents. It might not be lavender. It might not be mint. It might be an orange. They say citrus helps wake you up in the morning. So something with a citrus flavor is supposed to get you going, brightful, happy. Why do you think all of our face washes, ladies, have a citrus orange scent to it? Because that's what it's supposed to be, to get us going, and that's that smell, right? So men, sorry, but they're coming around. Oh, what is it? Old Spice is doing a great job with their scent products for men. So listen here. But even still, right? So even that scent, right? So you might have to find citrus. You might have to find something that will wake you up, right? That favorite smell that you like. Sometimes it might be, okay, what's the fastest way that I can do this? Whether it's a candle, like I said, it doesn't have to be burnt. It could be just there, right? And you open it and it hits that. It might be, if you're a commuter, here's the thing. You're wonderful people who stay home and work from home. Light the candle. Light the candle. Because an hour, 30 minutes into it, it's all melted. The smell is in the air. You've set the mood now to help you get through the day. Now, I don't know. Some of you might have to blow it out because it gets overpowering. Depends on how good of a candle, depends on your scent. It's fine. You just want to create that mood. If you need to light it again, right? This is where you kind of get to play with. So we have sight. So you kind of want to hit your five senses in a sense, right? So sight, let's do sight, right? So sight could be something as looking at a picture, looking at your screensaver, putting something on there that's just like, that hits us like, yes, I can get through this. This is setting my mood. It could be a favorite poem. It could be a favorite scripture. It could be whatever it is, right? Something that when you see it, it makes you feel good, right? I got puppies over here. Right now, they ain't making me feel good. But in the morning, if they make me feel good, I would have a picture of them, right? It could be a commercial. It could be a cartoon. It could be whatever it is. Something that when you see it, it kind of brings a smile to your face. Sound. We did the music for sound, right? If you guys can think of something else for sound as well, it doesn't have to be music. It could be the sound of raindrops. It could be the sound machines going on. It could be gospel music. It could be just the gospel instrumental. My mother loved waking up or playing jazz, right? It's just whatever that's going to give you that sound. I don't know. Maybe you guys live by the mountains. Maybe you guys live by some water. Open the window and you hear that. Some people might like those things out the house. When the wind blows, wind chimes. You might have a pair, your neighbor has a pair. My neighbor has a pair, and I'm not into wind chimes. Right? So that might work for some people. Figure out what's the sound that when you hear it, it's kind of calming. So what did I do? I forgot what I did. I did sound, did sight, nose. I did nose, right? Aromatherapy, things that you smell. It could be a seasoning, guys. I know I kind of went to the fruitiness, but it could be a seasoning. It could be a spice. It could be the spice of chili pepper, right? It could be the spice of mayonnaise. It could be the spice of cumin. It could be whatever spice it is that kind of gets you going. It might be a scent that you remember walking into a friend's house or your grandparents' house or waking up in the morning and wow, everybody loved it. Why do you think vanilla is so popular? Like, right. It reminds everybody of baked cookies. I can't stand vanilla, but that's what it reminds everybody of, right? But you can always alter it for what your taste buds is. So taste, right? So that brings us to taste. Well, taste, we can listen, if you need to taste it, fine, right? If you need to have something that's there, right? Most of us is just like the morning taste that I have is my toothpaste or coffee, right? Or tea.
Somebody put coffee does it for them.
Listen, I told you this time of year, I am off my pumpkin spice. Like, listen here. Like, I'm just like, you got the pumpkin spice going this time of year? I'm like, yes, pour me a cup. Right? So it could be anything, right? That
Mm-hmm.
you feel like that will spark that, right? This, the reason also why people like the spiciness, right? All it kind of breaks the way your brain up and all that wonderful stuff and gets going, which why people just kind of sometimes like it. So that's one thing. I'm missing one. Am I missing one? What am I?
Did you do the eyes?
I did eyes.
We
We did
did sight,
sight.
taste. We
All
did
right.
hear because of the music, and we did smell, feel.
Oh, touch. Right. And I just reached down and touched my dog too as I took that, right? I just pulled it. They like to get in this corner and chew on my wires. So touch, right? And it can be, right? So something soft, something hard, something, whatever it might be. One of my babies just got a haircut. He's just so super soft. Like, I'm just like love rubbing on him. I'm just like, what shampoo did they give you? Like, oh my God. Right? But it is. It changes our mood. You'd be surprised that even touch changes our mood. So it might be even sleeping in bed at night, right? So what's the touch that you like, right? So maybe it's satin sheets, right? As ladies already sleep with it for our heads, right? So maybe it might be touching that in the morning or before we go to bed. It might be something cotton. It might be something fleece, right? You have to figure out what is that touch that you like, right? And so whatever is going to soothe. Remember, the whole thing that we're trying to do is change our mind frame, to change it to kind of boost it a little. You'd be surprised. The slightest little boost can elevate for the rest of the day and how we operate and how we do things. So my challenge for you guys is to try to hit at least all 5 senses, at least 3 if you can, and see and rotate them. They don't have to be the same every day. Rotate them, play with them and see which ones work. I always tell people with depression, you need to have a basket full of things that will work, because your go-to 3 won't always work in every situation. You might wake up and it's raining and it's just nasty, it's pouring. If you're a commuter, or even if you're not a commuter, you're just like, ugh. Like, can I just roll back over? Like, wake me up when it stops raining, right? And don't let us have to go out the house because we put it off and we have to go get milk that day or whatever. It's just like, or somebody needs something, right? It's just like, please. So on those days, maybe touch won't work because everything just seems so gloomy, right? But maybe smell might work that day. Maybe it's a combination. I got the smells going, I got the music blaring, right? Maybe my go-to song list just isn't working. Well, you need to have at least 2-3 playlists. Mix it up, right?
Now, for me, it's usually 3 for me every day, Angelise, because it sounds so much like me. It's the smell, the taste, and it's the smell, the taste, and the hearing. Because I'm always, as soon as I wake up, podcast or music, and then I always light my candle, and I always have to have coffee.
And part of us, we're in that habit. And so, like I said, usually with seasonal depression or even when depression shows up, it changes. One of those 3 won't work. And so sometimes it's like, let's say the coffee, right? We're out of coffee, or we're out of our favorite coffee that we just wanted this morning, right? So it's just like, tag, my morning is off. Like I had some tea, but it's just not it, right? So now if I put something else in place and that rotation of it, ooh, will this work? Will this give me the same perk that I needed? I didn't think about this, right? So, because sometimes even if we're in the habit of those 3 and we're missing 1 for 2, we're just like, something still isn't right. If we replace that 3rd with something else, you might find yourself back to that same balance. Like, all right, I got this, right?
Now I can replace any of them, but I cannot replace coffee. That throws my whole. Is no smell, no hearing, no sight that's gonna replace coffee for me when it comes to my mood.
All right, I'm gonna challenge you. So I'm gonna challenge you, right? I want you to find a tea that you like.
And that's the thing. Well, I'm trying now because I'm not a tea person, but I will try that.
I'm gonna challenge you to find a tea that you like. So start with flavors, maybe, and to see what you like. Read the back of them, see what's inside of it. Might surprise yourself. And then what is it the goal that you're looking for, right? Sleepy time tea doesn't always work for sleepy time for people. It actually wakes some people up. For my people who like to drown everything in sugar, I'm going to challenge you guys to use honey instead of sugar. My coffee drinkers, I'm going to challenge you. You got to find a tea. There's tons of them out there. You're going to learn the difference between a black tea and a green tea and a flavored tea.
Somebody got, what is it? Starbucks peppermint mocha means a great day for me.
Okay. So the peppermints and the mocha. Mocha is chocolate. So
that is a mood.
Right. And there's actually teas. So you can do the peppermint tea. And there are some chocolate teas that's out there. But remember, mocha is just a chocolate. Right. So you can. So maybe instead of having the coffee, you can have a hot cocoa. So here's a trick, right? Some of you probably already know this. You can just take regular hot chocolate and add a peppermint stick to it. You got your mint and your mocha. Right? The little candy, the peppermint bark candies, if you have that around the holiday time, drop that in your hot coffee. Drop that even in your hot cocoa. Don't put no sugar in it if you put this in here, folks. This is your sugar. Right? It is, right? So that same peppermint, if that's your uplifter for things, you can look for it around the house, especially the holiday times, right? You get the natural peppermint, the liquid form, and you can smell that. That might be a scent that you have. Elliptic, spearmint, all that is mints in that mint family. You can actually, maybe you might want to 70% cocoa. Nobody likes dark chocolate, right? Nobody likes the bitter chocolate. But it's, even though it's healthier for you, right? But you might find eating just a small piece of that does wonders. It truly does wonders for everything that we're saying, because it boosts that. It does the same effect that it's supposed to do without all the sugar in it. Now, the brave ones hit the 90% cocoa. Start with the lower ones. Try this. Also, I'm going to challenge you guys. Try switching from honey not sweet. Honey is sweet. Too much of it can change the taste, but it is sweet. Oh goodness, I forgot what challenge I was going to give you guys to try to do. Oh, try introducing a bit of dark chocolate into your meal. So here's the other thing. I used to be a chocolatier. Cold. Chocolate likes to be cold. So put it in the fridge and try a piece of dark chocolate. Now, if you like me, some dark chocolate with the salts and the caramel in the middle, love it. Try it. Just try it.
I'll pick mine up tomorrow
and see what happens. But if you start replacing that, and you'll be surprised, like kind of feeling bad or whatever, we can have a piece of dark chocolate and we'll kind of do some of these effects that we want to. When I do a lot of sugar, I can crash, which since I moved, I'm
aware that she has to watch it.
Watch this. Okay, yes. First of all, we Black. We shouldn't be having a lot of sugar anyway. We sweet enough. We are sweet enough. Here's the thing. What something isn't sweet is it's a mindset, because our tongue has 5 different palates, if I remember this correctly. 5 or 3 different palates, right? I always forget, maybe it's 4, but it has different palates, right? So when it hits the tongue for sweet, it registers the brain sweet. Salty, same thing. Sour, same thing. Bitter is another one. So I think that's 4. Might be one more, but at least 4. So it depends on where it hits on your taste buds is what determines a sweet. We alter this based upon how we are raised in terms of when we saw mom, grandma, whoever putting as much candy or sugar or sweetness in whatever they made, help determine what we would determine sweet. If you challenge yourself to be like, wait, I used to put 6 packs of sugar in my tea. Let me do 4 and rock with it. Don't go convincing yourself, no, it's not as sweet. It doesn't taste as good. Tell yourself, I'm only going to rock 4. You'd be surprised how you start to challenge your mindset, and what you think is sweet really is sweet. Then I want you to challenge yourself. Honey is sweet. I'm going to challenge the person who says honey's not sweet. Honey is sweet. You have to find the right amount of honey. It depends on what you're putting it in. If you like your tea super, super strong, then you're going to add honey. But here's the thing. The more honey you add, honey does have a taste. If you add too much honey, it can offset whatever it is that you're putting it into. So maybe your tea is too strong and you're not making tea the correct way, that the honey going in it, you just like, it's not sweet enough. And when you add it, you just like, what is this? Like, just give me the sugar. Got to find a balance. But honey is sweet. Sometimes you need a little bit more of it. Sometimes you need a little bit less of it. But I will challenge yourself that. Like I'm telling you to challenge yourself because I actually took the challenge myself. I moved myself from 6 to 4 to honey. And when I did, I was surprised because I can even drink strong tea and it doesn't have as much honey, but I can still get it down because I'm like, the sweetness is really in my mind because the tea is perfectly fine. What? Oh my gosh. How big is this mug? 14 tablespoons? Tablespoons, lady?
And then they're crashing at the end of the day.
Oh my gosh. That is just way. Girl, when's the last time you had your blood sugar checked? You had your sugar checked? Did you have your A1C checked? Did you have your cholesterol checked? That is way too much sugar, sweetness.
Yeah.
Way too much sugar. It's got to be sweet, girl. But you know what you need? You need to try like the agave. Try the agaves. Try some of the natural sweeteners. But how about you make yourself a simple syrup and add it to whatever it is that you're going to do? That simple syrup that you'll make yourself to add to your sweeteners and add to the different things, or even making your own sugar, you'll be surprised that you're not using as much.
Yeah, that's a lot of sugar.
I bet you that somebody else in their family, this is a generational thing, showed you that you needed that much sugar for something to be sweet. It's just like the kid with the Kool-Aid. We see that commercial there's always somebody making fun of them and they're pouring the whole 5 pounds of sugar in that container. I made tea for my family reunion. The 4 C's in a container. I put no sugar in it. It was just the mix and water, and every single one of them was just like, I can't believe this isn't from a can. Like, what else did you put in this? And I'm sitting there laughing, like nothing but the iced tea mix.
Someone said the sugar to honey challenge does really work. So somebody must be already trying it, Angelique.
I love it. It does. You will be surprised, right? So thanks, Patricia. So how all of this ties in is the fact that even with depression, it is mind over matter. It truly is. At the end of the day, is what you feed yourself that you believe is to be true. Doesn't mean that these symptoms aren't real. They are. But do we keep feeding into them? Or do we tell ourselves and challenge ourselves to be like, no, I can get up out the bed. No, this day isn't going to be horrible. I can get through this. That is how we get over the depression, is that we always challenge ourselves. Every morning, everybody wakes up with morning blues. Everybody does. But it's mind over matter. That's exactly what we're on. Exactly. Right? It definitely is, because how we get through the day is because we're like, okay, I just have this to do. They'll be fine. The coffee is brewing. We think about the next step. And as
Right.
long as we keep about the next step and something in that next step is happy, that's just like, all right, that's good, right? That's good. My day started at 1 o'clock. I've been working all the way through, and halfway through, I was just like, I ain't gonna have enough energy for tonight. These daggone puppies gonna have a late night because usually 9 o'clock they out cold. They like clockwork. They go out by themselves. They crash on their own. I have no idea what they've been into, but I know they into something sitting over here next to me, just as quiet as can be. Right? But I was still like, oh wait, I got Mind Matters. I was like, I love doing this, right? There's
Mhm.
something that we do that keeps us going through the day. And
Right.
that's what keeps us going. And that's how you beat depression truly. This is why no matter where you go, and especially when our kids and our youth are in treatment centers or they're in something, there's sprues of workbooks, there's sprues of activities that we give them because we're teaching them that it's the outlook. It's a different way of how you outlook at life. How can you challenge this? How can you look at it this way? This is why we do the 5 senses with them, because we're challenging them to think about each of these and how they affect them, right? So another trick we'll do is like, especially if somebody's in the middle of anxiety, we'll tell them like, okay, think of these 5 senses and where you want to be and focus on that, because it takes the
Mhm.
brain and moves them from where they are to calm down to move and go forward, right? We also tell people like, okay, every day you've done this and you don't like doing it, but what gets you through it, right?
Mhm.
It's that same thing of changing that mindset, which is why even for some people in the middle of the season of depression, they're able to click over because they're like, okay, I've gotten through the worst part. It's now wintertime, like snow. Snow might be the trigger that snaps them out of it. Like, oh, it's all snow. We're good. I'm great. I can handle the snow. Things are going to get shut down. I'm a New Yorker. Things never got shut down. But down here, things are going to get shut down. They just going to talk about snow. Somebody gonna wake up and say the word snow and everything gonna get shut down. I'm good. I'm great. Right? The happiness of it that we're able to move past it. And that's exactly what this is. What depression is. It's a matter of like, how can I move past it? How can I look at things differently? How can I trigger that in my mind that things are better? This is why music is so, so powerful that you can put in a song and it will change moods instantly. Don't you
We
dare.
do have, I think, one other question that we
Okay.
possibly skipped. If you are in a relationship, how can your partner help you overcome seasonal depression?
It's a conversation, right? Communication.
Mhm.
Totally communication, right? First of all, your partner can't be like, oh, that's not real. Get out of here. You just being lazy.
Yeah.
Because the person with it, right? Because the person's just like, no, I know what I'm feeling and I just don't feel well. Something just ain't right. Right. So you have to have the communication like, listen, you might not have to believe in seasonal depression, but I know how I'm feeling. So how can you support me? Right.
Right.
In this. Right. So doing the tactic of some, maybe the 5 senses, right? To be like, okay, well, what can we do in the morning, right? Maybe this is why I love when I see walkers in the morning or joggers in the morning, because they've already learned to kickstart all that going, all that positive energy, right? And so this is why some people who are morning people and they work out are the happiest people in the morning. It's just like, what drug are you on and where do I hook up to it, right? But they've already learned, like, no, I'm releasing it already in me, right?
Mhm.
Something as simple as that. Here's another one, right? So we have a partner. Maybe how you wake up to each other in the morning. Do we just roll over? Did we just start our day? Did we bother to say good morning? Did we bother to kiss each other? Did we bother to give a hug? Right? Did we bother to say I love you? Did we bother to say have a great day? All that can work,
Right.
right? With our partner, and just like, you know what, you don't need to do anything. Just give me a hug, right? Just
Right.
acknowledge me. Just say good morning to me. Like, you know, it was great that I went to sleep and woke up next to you. Maybe
Right.
that just simply might help in supporting you to be like, you know what, I can get through today. Today's a good day. I'm gonna be all right. We're in this together, right? Because sometimes people is like when they can't recognize or what you're going through, they have a hard time. But you have to be
Yeah.
like, hey, this is how I need you to show up, right? So maybe in the morning, you went and you started my car, right? Maybe in the morning, you got the coffee going. Maybe in the morning, you hit the playlist for one of the songs, right? Maybe we made the playlist together, right? Because I'm waking up, I'm gonna wake you up. maybe we come up with the playlist together, right? So what's
Mhm.
something else that we can do some of these things together? Like I said, I can't stand lavender. Don't you go light no lavender around me, right? Oh, thank you. Right? It's a
Yes,
matter of
Mr.
like,
Leader.
yeah, it's always been a wonderful discussion. Thank you. Right? We might define a different set together, right? But it's a conversation that you still want your partner to be like, listen, how can you
Mhm.
support me in it? Because if you love me, you're going to support me. This is about me and my health and well being. Because if I'm happy and I'm walking around here skipping and jumping and happy, at night when we go to bed, I'm going to make you happy too, right?
Oh goodness.
Right? You might come home or for the afternoon, you might get a walk into a wonderful surprise afternoon delight, right?
Mhm.
It might not be like you don't have to believe me, but you're supporting me because if I'm
Yeah,
happy or I'm making you happy, right? We both get to benefit on what's taking place.
that's good. That's good.
All right, guys. Any
Yeah,
other questions? This was so great. I love these things. I tell you,
I
I love
love having you.
I love chit chat and I love connecting with us, folks.
Yeah.
My puppies are really about to go at it. He is
I
like,
think you kind of hit everything that I had on my list of notes in your discussion.
good. I'm glad. And
Because you
perfect
did go over you went over the you because I asked
time. Mhm.
and any recommendations for parents that may be caring for someone with seasonal depression. I think you may have hit that as well.
Mhm.
So I guess to end it all, I know we went over the five senses as being a way to cope with it. Is there, if it is someone that is having a very hard time, even with the five senses, is there any treatments
So my thing would be definitely, can we see the puppies?
oh,
Sure you
that
can
sound like
see them.
Dynasty.
One of them is right here by my foot. This is a troublemaker. He should be so used to being on camera at this point because he's always look how small he is. Like this is my troublemaker. 4 pounds, 4 pounds of nothing but pure trouble. If he could figure out where the camera was, he really would stare at you guys. Like
Hmm.
4 pounds of pure trouble. That's it. That's it. 4 pounds of pure trouble. This is Winston. Yes. Yes, I'm talking about you. Yes. I don't need a kiss. I'm talking about you. You want to go get your brother? Archie. Come here. Come here, Archie. Let me rattle a bag. Good boy. Oh, this is
Oh,
my
that's the other one.
Archie.
Look at him.
Camera. This is Archie, and Winston is biting on his foot as we speak. So this is my Archie. This is my Winston. These are my boys. These are my cute little boys. Archie is Winston's brother's keeper, I call him, because he's always looking after him. He's a month older, so he's always looking after
Oh,
him. So, but Winston is a troublemaker. So, like every time you heard them going at it, Winston will stare at Archie like a staring and then charge at him. And then but they were good, right? I didn't have to snap
they
my
did
fingers
good.
too
They
much.
did good. Yep,
So, I was
they
gonna say
did.
some other treatments real quick would be don't disregard it. Try
Okay.
some things. If not, seek professional help. Sometimes you just need somebody to talk things out with. If you feel like, wait, this might be a little bit more, medication is always there. Your
Hmm.
doctor or your psychiatrist will know how to treat SAD and depression. You might be like, can I just start on a mild mood stabilizer just to help me get over that little hump? Pay attention to your body, pay attention to your signs, pay attention to for you to be like, can I pinpoint this? Does this go away? Am I doing these mind things and move past it? Is it working? Am I still really feeling stuck in it? Change your
Hmm.
time, right? We do this and we don't realize it. Maybe I need to just change my time pattern. If I change my time pattern a little bit, am I better? Right? Can I
Hmm.
alter my clock just a little bit? So how does that look? Right? And you play with that. That might also even help. But you're just like, oh, you know what? I got an extra hour here. Feel a little better. Right. So maybe my bedtime was 11. Now it's at 10. right? Or maybe it's 12. Maybe now I'm at bed at 10. Those 2 extra hours, you'll be surprised that your body's like, oh, thank you, I needed this. So now when I gotta wake up, I'm okay because I gave my body what it needed, that rest, and it adjusts to the time schedule a little bit better.
Oh,
All right.
wow.
Try the nightlight. For some people, try the night lamp, you know.
Mhm.
Or here's another one also, right? So the days that are still nice out and it's still sunny, go for a walk. Leave
Yeah.
your desk. Leave your desk, folks. I always had the model of like when people who smoke cigarettes got the extra 2 15-minute cigarette breaks, I would go take me a mental health break, is what I used to call it. And I would go
Mhm.
right outside just like they did. I would walk the opposite direction. I would walk around the block, depends on what my job was. I would go for a walk and come right back. I was like, if they get to have cigarette breaks, I get to have a mental health walk.
Mental health.
And you'd
Yeah.
be surprised how that walk changes your mood, changes everything, changes your mindset, that you go back into work. You're like, oh, I could do this. It's like, yeah, let's go. Because you changed your environment. And that walk also has increased all those things. I must sit outside in sunny days. Yes, be outside. If you work from home, go outside, take a breath of fresh air. Working from home, most people have, I think we need to do a segment just on this, right? Again,
Yeah.
the fact of working from home, right? Those people who went from office, when you were in that brick and mortar, you got up from your desk so many times than you did when you were at home. You did. You
Yeah.
constantly got up from your desk, whether it was to go pee, whether it's to go check on so-and-so. Let me go find out today's gossip. Let me go meet at the water cooler. You got up from your desk and socialized so much. That's why you were more productive, because you walked around, you engaged with other people. Let's go for lunch, right? If it was a nice day, you stuck out. Even if it was cold, you went for a walk, you were out there. Being in your house, you don't leave. And the mentality is for the higher uppers is like, oh, you're at home, so you must be goofing off. And so they
Mhm.
pile on even more work to do, right? And it's just like, wait a minute. Just because you changed my environment didn't mean my workload needed to double. When am I goofing off? Right? It's the
Right.
same time. The environment just changed. But that mentality for them didn't change, because it's like, no, you're now at home still goofing off what you were already goofing off when you was at work. My workload didn't change. So I say that because you don't get up from your desk, right? If you have a boss who's micromanaging and now they can't see you to micromanage, it's just like they have a sensor in your phone that the minute it snoozes for you to go pee, where you at? It's blowing up, the phone's blowing up, the email's blowing up. You're just like, oh my goodness, like, can I just pee? Right? We forget to even go to the bathroom. So whether you're working from home and it's nice, set the breaks. Set your breaks twice a day. So when you get to work, before lunch, set a little 15-minute break. Same thing after lunch, before you go home, set a little 15-minute break. Get up, go to the bathroom, go outside for a walk, sitting the dogs after. Yes, anything that matters. Exactly. Your dogs will appreciate it. I said 9:00 was bedtime, right? They're now laying down like clockwork, about to be passed out for the night.
They're internal.
Yes, right? Their internal clock. They're just like, I'm telling you, their internal clock is just like that. It's clockwork. They're like, nope.
It's real. It's real, because my internal clock comes on at 4, maybe 4:30 in the morning at the latest, because I try to get up by 4:30 every morning. That's for work, Angelique. That is not for anything else.
You better tell God good morning at 4:30 in the morning. That's when he sends his angels out to work. You better say good morning for me.
Right. But that clock, my brain tells me to lay back down, but the clock tells me to get back up.
Yes. I roll over at 4. I tell God good morning, bless you, thank you. And I'm like, I'm going back to sleep. And these two down here, their internal clock is around 6:30. Is their internal clock. And I got about 15 minutes to get myself up and ready and down these stairs to take them outside. It's so, we have it all, and we just have to kind of use it. Don't neglect it. And just like for you, right? You're up at 4. I'm sure your partner's just like, what do you
Mhm.
mean? Like, why the whole house needs to wake up at 4, right? So it goes back to that conversation for couples, right? How do we communicate and talk to work this out? Because I don't want to disturb you, but at the same time, I need you to support me, right? So
Right.
maybe I'm in the other bathroom getting ready, right? Maybe I don't turn the music on until I'm downstairs, or maybe,
Right.
it's on low, where I kind of poked a little fun at God and praying, but prayer is a powerful thing. Even
Yeah.
doing that in the morning, right? I laugh, but I'm serious. At 4 o'clock, he wakes me up every morning. I go, okay, God, good morning. I say my little prayer. We have a little talk, and I roll right back over and go back to sleep. Like I said, God knows all his children individually, what
Yeah.
we need and how to communicate,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it all depends. I thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
I thank
Anytime.
you.
Thank you for dealing with my two. They are literally down here knocked out with that.
Knocked out. They were good though. They were good. So their internal clock must have told them that you were on and they had to be quiet. So they were good. But thank you again, Angelique. It's been a long time. But I'm so happy you said yes again. Everybody in the comment section is saying thank you. Um, so yeah, guys, if you are going through seasonal depression, go ahead, like she said, take out your 5 senses, go through those and all the other advice that she has given us. And I kind of took that to heart because a lot of the advices that she gave me, I kind of was using already myself. But and also remember to do what was it, the honey challenge? Was it the honey challenge?
The sugar challenge,
The
yes. Move
sugar
yourself from
challenge.
your sugar to honey wherever you can, and coffee, from coffee to tea,
From coffee to tea, the sugar challenge, and the 5 senses. So
and the
go
vitamin
ahead
D. Don't forget to
and the
actually not
vitamin D.
vitamin D. I'm telling
Go
you, if they don't say anything, go ahead and start sliding yourself some vitamin D3 up in your.
because that's the lowest dosage, right?
The vitamin D3 is not the lower doses, it's just a different form of vitamin D. But the
Gotcha.
3 is the one that, like I said, when I worked, every elderly person, I don't care what ethnicity I walked through the door, when I did their medical chart and had to
Mhm.
go over it, every single one of them had vitamin D3 on it.
Yeah, all of my clients have it.
Yeah. And
but
like I said, we take it for granted, but pop that
but you
vitamin
need it.
D3. Yep.
You
Especially this
need
time of year. Especially this time of year, to having some vitamin D in us.
it. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next one. Angelique and I are talking about coming back next month. Look, I threw her out there. And talking about grievance in a 2-section portion, but more info on that as the days go along. And we will see you again next time. So remember, no more sad. Let's turn those sad days into glad days by taking all the information that she has given you and implement into your everyday life. And I will see you again next time. And remember that your mind matters to us.
Yes. Bye bye, guys.